Honourable members' prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favour upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, thou members of Parliament and Ministers of State with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labours of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and that good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the effort of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, proceed with the correction of the votes and proceedings of Thursday, December 14, 2023. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, page 15, page 16, page 17. Honourable members, in the absence of any corrections, the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 14 December 2023 are hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Item 5. Business statement for the ensuing week. Yes, Honourable Chief Whip.
Speaker, may I seek your leave to present the statement for and on behalf of the Leader of the House?
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you for the opportunity, Speaker. Speaker, the business statement for the ensuing week, the committee met yesterday and has duly programmed activities and businesses for the ensuing week. Speaker, I know 50 questions have been programmed for the ensuing week. Statement may be taken in accordance with appropriate orders. Bills, papers, and reports may also be taken. Motions and their consequential resolutions, Speaker, may be taken. Speaker, in line with the program of the committee, the House is scheduled to meet to sit tomorrow, just to keep up with the busy schedules we have. Speaker, the Business Committee takes the opportunity to remind honourable members of the program for the Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols, scheduled to be held at the Forecourt of Parliament on Thursday, 23 1st December at 6 p.m. Honorable members are entreated to participate fully. Speaker, the House is expected to adjourn the Senate year on Friday, 22nd December. Let me entreat the Hansard to capture the entirety of the reports. Speaker, I so present.
Members, the business statement for the ensuing week has been presented. Any comments? Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for the opportunity. Speaker, I wish to thank the Business Committee for the work done in terms of scheduling business for the week ending 22nd December. So, Speaker, I only have a few concerns in relation to the proposal that we sit on Tuesday, the 19th, and that sitting will start at 2 o'clock. Speaker, the 2 o'clock is supposed to help us vote in the district level elections. But if that is truly the reason, then it will be very difficult, Mr. Speaker, for a number of members to return to this house by that 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Some of us are not lucky to have airports functioning in our regions. The whole airport is not even in operation. And can you imagine if you are in OT and you are going to vote? Mr. Speaker, my constituency, Queen, you arrive in that, you now have to go to Tetema and go to my electoral area and vote and now drive back. It is just not possible to return here by 2 o'clock. So the business committee should be able to infuse into other days the business schedule for that Tuesday, so we can all get out there to participate. Just last week, after the statement made by the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, we were all lamenting about the turnout in relation to the district level elections, and that we wish to encourage a higher turnout. If Parliament is going to be sitting on that day, Mr. Speaker, how are we going to be performing this assignment? So I want to plead with the Business Committee to seriously consider the business schedule for Tuesday and push it into other days. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member for Boko.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I sympathize and understand the arguments and concerns expressed thus far about us sitting in the afternoon of Tuesday on the date that we'll be involved in the district level elections. I can understand the arguments that many of us, given the distances from where we are required to vote and Parliament, will not be able to make it in time to be able to participate in proceedings that day. But, Mr. Speaker, Parliament is just one among many public institutions in this country. You have the entire public service, the civil service. This Parliament has enacted legislation establishing so many institutions. We have the judiciary, and we have the executive. Mr. Speaker, how is it that we, who have refused to declare this date a public holiday, will however grant ourselves a holiday simply because of the issue of district assembly elections? I have heard radio discussions in which many members of the public, civil servants, have been calling on us to make this a public holiday for them. We haven't done that. Then we will now grant ourselves a public holiday. I think that as Parliament, we should reconsider that, because we may be sending a signal that is not too fair to the rest of the members of the public service. So, Mr. Speaker, let's leave it that way. If on that day we are able to come, that is it. Today that is not a holiday. Mr. Speaker, look at the chamber. Look at the chamber. We haven't even said that we should start at 2 o'clock, but look at the chamber. If on that day we come and there's quorum, we conduct business. If there's no quorum and somebody raises the issue of quorum, then we proceed. So let's leave it the way it is, and then let the day pass. Otherwise, others in the public services, the judiciary, will take us on for granting ourselves a holiday and then denying them a holiday. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
China Paga. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the order paper for today captures my question. Stand number 1356. I seek to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways whether construction, graveling of a road.
We are discussing the order paper.
Yes, I know.
Sorry, business statement.
That is what I'm coming to, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
And on the business statement, it captures the question to be taken on Thursday. That is where I'm raising the question, so that I'll get to know, am I taking the question today, or is the question going to be taken today, or is being programmed to be taken on Thursday, per the business statement that I'm holding?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also have a question. My issue is similar to his. A question on Tuesday, question number 1223. But the question has already been asked by the minister, and the minister has come to answer the question. So I'm just drawing your attention, the business committee's attention, that the question has already been asked, and satisfactory answers were given. So if they could sponge it out from Tuesday. Thank you.
Yes, would you whip yes, responses?
Speaker, I must concede that, as a matter of fact, this concern and worry about sitting on Tuesday came up at the committee level, and the committee argued about it, but we came to a conclusion that, first of all, the day is not a national holiday, and that is a fundamental fact we should concede. Besides the point, we are billed to rise on Friday. Yes, coming Friday. We have a number of businesses to be prosecuted. If I may go into details, we have over 40 estimates in the form of motions to be taken. And so, considering the limitation of time available to us, if we don't sit on Tuesday, it will be difficult. We, however, concede that we may not be able to have a significant number of members participating in the sitting, but we'll urge colleagues, as many as can avail themselves for the sitting on Tuesday, should avail themselves. But I couldn't have agreed more with General Boayariga, who says the day is not a statutory public holiday, and therefore we should be seen to be setting a good example. So sitting on Tuesday, respect to my good friend, Honorable Kofi Adams, is not negotiable. We will have to sit on Tuesday. My colleague who related to questions appearing on the order paper, if I got him well, questions appear on the order paper as the business statement. Well, it will be reconciled with the table office so that we will deal with it. I don't think it's a big issue. It will be dealt with.
Very well, honourable members. The business statement for the ensuing week is hereby adopted by the House. Now I proceed to item 6, questions. First, urgent questions. Is the Honorable Minister for Roads and Highways in the House? Question number 631 to be asked. Is the chief whip on his feet?
Yes, certainly I am. Speaker, may I seek your leave for the questions to be answered by the Deputy Minister of Roads and Highways this time? Speaker, with your leave.
Yes, Minority Desk.
Speaker, he's a noble member of this House, and I know he's capable of representing the minister.
Very well. Honorable Deputy Minister, taking your seat already. So, there's one urgent question first. Yes. In the name of the Honorable Member for Elembele. Mr. Emmanuel Amakofiboa, you may ask your urgent question, please.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways the urgent steps taken by the Ministry to repair the visibly weak Ankobra Bridge, which is at the heart of trade and commerce between Ghana and La Côte d'Ivoire.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The Ankobra Bridge is a 132 meter span bridge which carries a section of the Agona Junction to Elugu Road over the Ankobra River estuary at Ankobra in the western region. It consists of a reinforced concrete beam and slab superstructure supported on reinforced concrete piles and end abutments. In August 2020, Parliament approved the financial and commercial agreement of 65 million euros for the construction and rehabilitation of 3 bridges. These include Sweet River, Ankobra River, and Black Volta at Ituri, Ankobra, and Dikwe, respectively. The construction of a new bridge over River Ankobra was part of that agreement. However, the government has not been able to reach financial closure on the project. Currently, the Bridge Division of Ghana Highway Authority will continuously monitor the bridge and undertake remedial measures as and when necessary. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. In the Minister's answer, he concedes the urgent need to do something about the bridge, and that there's a loan that this bridge is included. As we speak, heavy trucks who basically plow that bridge are not really controlled. There's no the weight and measurements, whatever, loading gantry, whatever it is. It's not working in that area. And so those drivers from Côte d'Ivoire are not controlled. And so there's a real risk, urgent risk, that this bridge will collapse. And that happens, it will be a disaster for business and for almost everybody in that area. So can the minister explain what steps will be taken to basically urgently address the weak bridge? I'm not talking about getting loans to fix a new bridge, but what steps can be taken immediately to address the urgency of what I've asked?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I indicated earlier on, our roads engineers and particularly the bridge maintenance units have an eye on the bridge. And if they detect that the bridge structural integrity is compromised Mr. Speaker, the right decision will be taken for the bridge to be closed. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
When I hear they have an eye on the bridge, without even telling me that a team will be dispatched to assess how long it can last. I mean, can the minister explain what he means when he says they will keep an eye on the bridge? Because it doesn't give me comfort at all. Can the minister explain what he means by they will keep an eye on the bridge? The bridge is about to collapse.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I will reiterate what I said, that before we came to this honorable house, our engineers went to have a look at the bridge before this question is being answered this afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister, do you have, Leader, do you have another question? If not.
Honorable Speaker, I'm also aware that the year span that was given for the bridge to be rehabilitated has really far past that date, and that rehabilitation has not taken place. Can the minister inform us and confirm whether indeed the date for the rehabilitation of the bridge elapsed, and if so, will any rehabilitation work be done on this bridge?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Regarding the lifespan of the bridge, I do not have the facts before me to speak to as to the lifespan of the bridge and when it expired or when it outlived its span. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. I'll proceed. Question number. Yes, Honorable Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether the minister has any emergency plan to tackle critical issues like this, because to have a look at it is not sufficient. But to say after looking at it, we are doing ABCD will satisfy us. So is there any emergency plan to deal with it?
Honorable Member, I think his answer is sufficient. We have looked at it. When an engineer has an eye on something, what does it mean? He says, our engineers went and inspected it. We have an eye on it. We will keep maintaining it until the reconstruction. I think that is sufficient. I'm proceeding. One of the eternal litigants is on his feet. I'm refusing to recognize him. Question number 631. In the name of Honorable Member for Karachi East, Mr. Wisdom Gidesu.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the feeder roads in the following communities in Karachi's constituency will be constructed and gravel. 1. Udumase, II, Adokope, Udumase, Adokope, II, Nonkonu, Asidikope, II, Parepare, Fefekope, Toromeji. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All the above listed roads, and I mean Odumase to Adokope, Wonkonu to Asidivukope, Parepare to Fefekope to Tolomeji, or Parepare Bato. All the above listed roads are non-engineered roads which provide access either to farming or fishing communities located in the Karachi East district of the Oti region. They are not classified in the Department of Federal Roads database of classified roads and therefore have no road identification numbers. There is no program for any of the above roads. Going forward, the condition survey and engineering design studies will be conducted on the roads by the end of the first quarter of 2024 to determine the necessary intervention. The implementation of the interventions will, however, be dependent on budgetary allocation under the 2024 budget. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the Minister for this answer, and we would like to find out from him whether he's assuring this House that necessary arrangements or provisions have been made in the 2024 budget, such that after approval of the appropriation bill, these communities will be taken care of. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would want to assure my honorable friend that the Ministry of Roads and Highways has in the budget allocation for development of new roads. So when the surveys are done, the ministry will consider his place as well. Thank you.
Very well. I'll proceed. The next question is by the honorable member for Southon. So, very well, I'll go on. Honorable member for Solar to Nakaba. The question is question 1356. Mr. Andrew Chivite.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways whether construction, so graveling of the Sanyeri-Buniyiri Road is part of the scope of work on the bridge construction project currently ongoing in Sanyeri in the Solar Tuna Kalwa district. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Sanyeri-Buniyiri Road starts from Nakwabi through Sanyeri to Buniyiri, a total length of 19.7 kilometers. It is located in the Solar Tuna Kalwa district of the Savannah region. The Bonanyene River crosses the road at a location between Sanyeri and Buniyiri. A contract for the construction of a modular steel bridge crosses the river between Sanyeri and Buniyiri was awarded on 16th March 2021 as one of the contracts under the project named Construction of 50 number check modular steel bridges at various locations in Ghana. It is a 25-meter span modular steel bridge which is currently ongoing. The scope of works under the contract is only for the construction of the bridge and bridge approaches and does not include graveling of the Sanyeri-Buniyiri Road. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, if you permit me, I will do some correction on the name of the river. The river we're talking about is Gongbong River, not Bonayiri River. Gongbong is spelled as G-B-O-N, G-B-O-N, Gongbong. That is the name of the river. Mr. Speaker, my question now is, the steel bridge that is being put on the river is hanging very high, making it very difficult for people to cross to the other side of the road. Mr. Speaker, will the minister consider getting the contractor to at least fill the space to make the place accessible so that people can at least cross through the bridge. Will the minister, because the constructor, as we talk, is not on site, because my understanding is that he's not been paid, so he has left the work halfway. Will you kindly get the contractor on site to at least shaping the place so that people can have access to the other communities beyond Sanyari? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We will get our engineers to go and have a look at the bridge, and if there are any remedial actions to be taken on, then we will do that. Mr. Speaker, the works on the bridge have stalled because of the debt restructuring that the government is having with the Paris Club, and we pray that the conclusion will be reached soon for the works to commence again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Yes, thank you once again. The Sanyeri Bringiri stretch, that road is a very important road in Solatona Kaba district. Sanyeri is one of the largest communities, and it used to have a very vibrant market. But because of the nature of the road, because of the deplorable nature of the road, because for 7 years now the road has not been reshaped, and it's creating a lot of tension in the community. Even a number of demonstrations has been staged. So, Honourable Minister, will you kindly at least ask the district assembly to do some reshaping once you don't intend to work on the road soon?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Minister of Roads and Highways do not have jurisdiction over the district assemblies. But what I can assure my good friend is that we normally have routine maintenance of our roads. So we will consider the Sanyeri Road when we are packaging roads for reshaping in our next projects. Thank you.
Yes, we have one more opportunity.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for the opportunity. I want to find out from the minister whether there are any timelines so that if I get back to Sanyeri, because I have a program in Sanyeri on the 30th of this month, I will have some results for them. I should be able to tell them, so and so date, the roads ministry will be doing some packaging and Sanyeri Road will be captured. Please give me some timelines.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would want to assure my good friend that the budget estimates are yet to be approved. When they are approved, we can speak about this. Thank you.
Now, I'll move on to question number 1365. The name of the honorable member for K2 South, Ms. Ablaji Fagomashi. I'll move on. The next one is in the name of the honorable member for Central Tong, Mr. Alexander Roosevelt Hotoje. I'll move on. Yes, the leader.
Mr. Speaker, respectfully, if we can allow a colleague from wherever to ask the question on behalf of the Honorable Jifagmas. She is one of the more serious MPs. I should think that she's engaged at a committee meeting. So if maybe anybody could ask the question on her behalf. So the minister doesn't have to come back in any event to...
Yes. If there's a leader, if there's anybody on his or her feet, I'll recognize the person. But there's nobody on his or her feet.
Speaker.
Yes.
Honorable Chairman, despite what they say about him, can be a very good person. I mean, he's right. The honorable member is in a meeting, and I have Honorable Ayerga who's been asked to ask the question on her behalf.
Very well. So I'll go back to question 1365. The member for K2 South. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the authority of the honorable member for K2 South, Honorable Zifa Gomashi, and with leave of your very good self, I wish to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the Omladumo Road, the Diamond Road, and the Gomashi roads in Aflao will be awarded, and if they have been awarded, who the contractor is.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Cape to South Municipal Assembly is one of the 18 districts in the Volta region, with Denu as its capital town. The Diamond Cement Road is a 4-kilometer collector off the N1 highway. It also forms part of 11-kilometer bypass that connects the whole to Denu highway at Woodwaba Junction to the Aflawo police station on the N1 highway. The Kobla Dumont Road is an 11.2-kilometer collector road that connects the N1 highway at Aflawo and the R10 at Denu. It serves a lot of communities as well as the K2 South Municipal Assembly. The Gomashi Road is a 1.5-kilometer collector off the N1 highway. It distributes traffic to several communities and also takes traffic from various communities back to the N1. Estimates for the construction of the Diamond Cement and Kobla Dumont roads have been prepared. The implementation of the works will be based on the availability of funds dependent on the 2024 budget. Future program, engineering studies and estimates will be conducted on the Gumashi roads by the Department of Urban Roads at the first quarter of 2024. Implementation of the works on the Gumashi roads will be dependent on the availability of funds. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Have you captured those roads under the 2024 budget? Because you just said that it will depend on funds and the 2024 budget. So the question is, have you captured those roads under the 2024 budget?
Mr. Chairman, as I indicated in my, Mr. Speaker, sorry, as I indicated in my earlier answer to the question, there are funds allocated for development of new roads, and we are yet to do the engineering studies. So when the studies are done in the first quarter, hopefully the Gumashi roads may be part of that. Thank you.
Very well. I'll proceed to the next one. The name of the honorable member for Central Town. Yes, leader.
If the Honorable Speaker rise to ask permission for the honorable member for Boko, Honorable Ayarga, to ask the question on behalf of Honorable Alexandra Oteji.
I thought you were asking it yourself. You have taken the seat. Just ask it on his behalf. He is not on his feet, so yes, so no way.
So, Speaker, let's pretend I have the permission. On the authority of Honorable Alexander Roosevelt, member for Central Tongue, and with your leave, Mr. Speaker, I wish to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when work will resume on the Mafi Kumasi through Bakwa Avedo Dabala Junction Road, which was awarded on contract since 2011.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. According to the road network information available to the Department of Federal Roads, there is no direct route from Mafi Kumasi through Dakpa to Avedo to Dabala Junction. The clearly identified direct connection is the road from Mafi Afedu to Dabala Junction. The Department of Federal Roads has no contract awarded in 2011 for any works from Mafi Kumasi to Dakpa to Avedo to Dabala Junction. There is no program on the Mafi Avedo to Dabala Junction Road. And there is no future program for linking Mafi Kumasi through Bakpa to Avedu. The only existing road is from Avedu to Dabala Junction, which receives intermittent routine maintenance interventions like reshaping. Thank you.
Very well, I'll proceed. The next question is number 1458. In the name of the honorable member for Jirapa. Yes, you may.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the Jirapa-Tiza Road will be given a bituminous surface.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Jirapa to Tiza Road is located in the Jirapa municipality in the Upper West region, and it forms part of the National Road N12. The Jirapa to Tiza Road has been awarded on contract under the project titled Upgrading of Jirapa Dowini to Nandom Road from kilometer 5 to kilometer 11.5. Progress of works on the project stands at 65%. The contractor is not on site due to delayed payment for work done. The contractor has indicated his willingness to resume works after receipts of payment for work done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, is the Minister aware that from Jirapa to Tiza, a portion of the road was sealed and it was awarded to a contractor, and the sealing was removed and to be resealed, and it has not been done till now. Is the Minister aware of that?
Honorable Minister, you are aware of any such thing?
Mr. Speaker, let me help the Minister. The Minister is talking about Jirapa to Domini. But from Jirapa, you get to Tiza before you get to Domini. So I'm saying that from Jirapa to Tiza, the road was sealed and the bitumen was removed and to be resealed, and it has not been done till date.
Yes, Honorable Minister, you are aware.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm not aware that the road was sealed and excavated and re-awarded for sealing again. I'm not aware of that fact. I don't have it. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Speaker, thank you once again. Minister, the reality of the matter is that the road was actually sealed from Jirapa to Tiza, and there were a few potholes on the road that the residents appealed to me to even get some cement and other things so that they could do it themselves. So I contacted the highways people, and they told me that the entire road is re-awarded. So I couldn't go ahead to offer my support for them to use their own labor to work on to fill the potholes. So I just want to say that the road was re-graveled, or let me say on I don't know how to put it, it was the bitumen was removed. So till date it has not been done. So if you are not aware of it, you have to go back and meet the
Honorable
technical.
member, the same thing as what the minister said, that a contractor has been assigned. He is not been paid. So when they pay him, he will return. So he's probably affirming what you're saying. A contractor came and removed something, and that he will come back if they pay him. So if you are interested, ask him when they will pay the contractor so he will resume work.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you. I think the usual answer will be that there's no money when there's money. But Minister, my people are not very happy about the road. There are many accidents taking place on that road. So if you can expedite actions to pay the contractor to go back to site. Thank you.
Do you want to have any comment on that, when they should expect some action?
Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Roads and Highways is indebted to so many contractors, including this one that is working on Girard-Partizan Road. And it's our wish that when these budget estimates are approved, we'll find some money and allocate to the contractor so that they can go back to my good friend's roads. Thank you.
Very well. Question 1460. In the name of the honourable member for Katamanso, Pung Katamanso, Mr. Joseph Akwete. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I have the authority of the honourable member for Pung Katamanso, who happens to be my next constituency member, and I seek your leave to ask a question on his behalf.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the contractors working on the following road projects will return to site after leaving the site for several months. I, Zeno Atadeka Road. I, New Jerusalem Apollonia Road. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, can you give me a minute? I understand that the school children visiting us today may wish to leave, so I should recognize them. We have 3 sets of visitors, the 4 from the AFS Intercultural Exchange Group, led by Nanajwa Anochwa Usubuating. I think they have left already. And then we have the 31st December Women Movement School, NIMA. They are led by Portia Ajakra. And they are the Municipal Director of NCCE. They are from the Ayoasu East constituency. You're welcome to Parliament. The next one is the St. Kizito RC Basic School. They are led by Sandra Ajovo. She is a staff of NCCE who leads them. They are also from the Ayoasu East constituency. There are 50 each of schools, and so 100 of them together from Ayoasu East are in Parliament today. You're welcome to Parliament. Now, Honourable Minister, you may resume.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pung to Katamanso Municipal is one of the 29 districts located in the Greater Accra region. Zeno Atadeka Road. The Ministry of Roads and Highways, through Department of Urban Roads, awarded a contract titled Partial Reconstruction of Selected Roads, Pung Katamanso Phase 2, 18 kilometers, for the rehabilitation of critical collector corridors to provide alternative routes of travel for commuters between Atadeka and Community 21 and 22 area. The contract commenced on 16th June 2018 for completion by 16th June 2020, which was later revised to 16th December 2020. Works have stalled currently due to delay in payment for work done, and the contractor has vacated the site. Efforts to get the contractor to resume work have been futile. The project has been recommended to MRH, Minister of Roads and Highways, for termination. The project is at 22% fiscal completion. The Department of Urban Roads shall repackage the outstanding works for re-award after due determination of the project. The New Jerusalem to Apollonia Road. The New Jerusalem to Apollonia Road the New Jerusalem to Apollonia to Afenia Road is 9.1 kilometers and located in the Bong Katamanso district of the Greater Accra region. A 2.5 kilometer section of the New Jerusalem to Apollonia Road was awarded together with other roads under the contract titled Rehabilitation of Jerusalem Road, Ningo Pram Pram, 5 kilometers, which commenced on 12 March 2018 for completion by March 11, 2019, and was later revised to 8th May 2020. All works under the contract were duly completed and handed over. The remaining 6.6 kilometers of the New Jerusalem to Apollonia Road was awarded as bitumen surfacing of Apollonia to Afenia Feeder Road, 6.1 kilometers. The contract was awarded on 9th April 2018 and commenced on 18th May 2018 for completion by November 17, 2020. Work completed to date is projected at 15% fiscal completion. The road is now heavily used by haulage trucks, and Department of Feeder Roads has undertaken a reassessment of the scope of works to include mechanical stabilization of their sub-base and base. A revised cost estimate has been prepared and is being reviewed for implementation in the 2024 budget, subject to the availability of funds. The future of the project will be determined depending on the availability of funds. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable MP for Kunkatamanso, Joseph Akuete, would want me to ask the Minister why, for projects that were to be completed in May 2020 and revised to November 2020 in both cases, have gone 3 years without reassessment, and per the last paragraph, the last but one paragraph, the Minister indicates that the works will be implemented in 2024 budget subject to the availability of funds. If from 2020 it's not been done, and from that time to 2023 it's not been done, and we are still saying in 2024 it will be done subject to availability, then we want clarity on this. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I think I did indicate that the engineers have recommended to the ministry for the termination of work because the contractor has not performed. And beyond that, the road is being used by heavy-duty trucks. So they have reassessed the road. That means that instead of bitumen, it could be upgraded to asphalt so that the heavy-duty trucks, haulage trucks, could ply that road. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, per the third paragraph, the Minister indicates that efforts to get the contractor to resume work have been futile. The project has been recommended to Ministry of Roads and Highways for determination. The project is at 22% physical completion. As we speak now, it is almost back to zero. What assurance is the minister giving the people of Konkata Manso for a respite, at least an intermediary graveling or something, to make the roads concern motorable? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure that the Department of Feeder Roads have all the information that we need to take a remedial action on that particular stretch of road that you are talking about, so that in the meantime, before we do the procurement processes to make the road, bring it to asphaltic level, they could, bring some solution, do some graveling for people who use that stretch of road. So we will speak to the Department of Feeder Roads so that some remedial action will be taken in the time being. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, you have one more.
Mr. Speaker, the third follow-up question is consummated with the assurance from the minister that he would speak to the urban roads for some graveling remedial works to be done. And if it is so, then I thank the minister and rest my case. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If it is so.
Honorable Minister, do you have any plan to do any remedial work on the road in the meantime? Do you have any plan to do some remedial work in the meantime? That's the last question.
So, Speaker, let's do some correction. I think in my statement I indicated Department of Feeder Roads, but it's rather Department of Urban Roads. Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier on, personally, I do not have information about the current condition of the road. So that is why I indicated that we'll be speaking to the Department of Urban Roads, so that if there's a need for us to take remedial action as soon as possible, we will do that for the people of the people who live on that corridor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well, I'll proceed. Question number 1461 in the name of the honorable member for Laura Elizabeth Ziding. Question number 1470 in the name of the honorable member from Poho, John Kobina Abam Abuasani. Honorable member from Poho. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I have his permission to ask a question on his behalf.
Please proceed.
To ask the Minister for Roads and Highways what plans the ministry has to award a contract for the construction of the 18.7 kilometers Adum Dominasi through Adum Banso to Benso Road in the Impoho district. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Edum Dominasi to Banso to Benso Feeder Road is an 18.5 kilometer engineered gravel road with poor surface condition. It is located in the Impoho district of the Western region. Currently, there is no program on the road. Engineering design studies have been conducted with estimates for the rehabilitation of the road. However, the implementation has been hampered by limited funding. Works will be carried out subject to the availability of funds. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm satisfied.
Very well. Question number 1658. In the name of honorable member for Medina, Francis Xavier Susu.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways the measures being taken to complete the Damfa Otinibi Road and also road projects in the Madina Lankwantana municipality.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Damfa Otinibi Road forms part of the Ayimensa Damfa to Amrahia Feeder Road. It's located within the Medina municipality of the Greater Accra region. Currently, the contract for upgrading of Ayimensa to Damfa Feeder Road was awarded on the 13th of August 2020. The project commenced on the 18th March 2021 for completion by 17th June 2022. The contractor was issued with 3 warning letters to speed up works, but there has not been any improvement. Going forward, the project has therefore been recommended for termination and repackaging subject to the availability of funds. Road projects in the Medina municipality. Medina La Nkwantanai Municipal is one of the 29 districts located in the Greater Accra region. The Ministry of Roads and Highways, through Department of Urban Roads, awarded the contract rehabilitation of selected roads in Kwemai area, Damfa, 4.1 kilometers. For the rehabilitation of selected roads within Damfa. The contract commenced on December 31st, 2020 for completion by 30th December 2021. The contractor has completed 4.29 kilometers of drains, 40 meters of pipe culverts, and 4.1 kilometers of road works to first seal level. Works have stalled currently due to delay in payment for work done, and the contractor has vacated site. Efforts are being made to get the contractor to resume works. The project is at 74% fiscal completion. La Nkwantanai Municipality, other projects. There are 21 projects currently awarded in the La Nkwantanai Municipality at present. These are at varied stages of completion, the status of which also vary significantly. The details are summarized in the table below. Mr. Speaker, we have rehabilitation of selected roads at Powerland, Medina Phase 2, 5 kilometers. Fiscal progress is 37 kilometers. Status, active. 2. Rehabilitation of selected roads at Atomic Commission, Boshe Market Area, Shibleo in Accra. Fiscal progress 8%. Status, active. 3. Rehabilitation of Adantan New Site Area Roads, Phase 1, 5 kilometers. Progress 44%, active. 4. Emergency asphaltic overlay of selected arterial and collector roads in Accra Metropolis. Phase 4, 40 kilometers. Progress 71%. The contractor has vacated sites less than a year. 5. Rehabilitation of Adantan New Site Area Roads. Phase 2, 4.5 kilometers. Fiscal progress is 52% and the status is abandoned 1 year ago. 6. Rehabilitation of Green Hill Area Roads, Ghana Flag, Oyarifa Phase 1 or so, 4 kilometers. Fiscal progress is 5% and the status is that the contractor has abandoned the site. 7. Rehabilitation of selected roads in Oyarifa. The fiscal progress is 75%. The contractor has abandoned projects. Upgrading of Pantang Village Roads, Phase 2, 1.1 kilometers, 41% physical progress, and the contractor has abandoned the project. 9. Rehabilitation of Green Hill Area Roads, Ghana Flag, Phase 2, 3.55 kilometers, physical progress is 5%, recommended for termination due to non-performance. 10. Upgrading of Power Land Area Roads, 10 kilometers. Physical progress 6%, recommended for termination due to non-performance. 11. Construction of box culverts at Sun City Stream around Sakura area at Adentan. Physical progress is 36%. The status is that it's recommended for termination due to non-performance. 12. Upgrading of selected roads at Special Ice Junction, Oyarifa, 2 kilometers, yet to mobilize. Recommended for termination. 13. Upgrading of Medina Lanquantanai Chief Palace Road, 0.88 kilometers. Physical progress is 28%. Recommended for termination due to non-performance. 14. Upgrading of Medina Estate Tantana and Nkwantanai Area Road, 7 kilometers. Physical progress is 5% and is also recommended for termination. 15. Minor rehabilitation of Medina Malcolm Road. The physical progress is 48%. Is also recommended for termination. 16. Rehabilitation of selected roads in Taimai Area Roads, 6 kilometers. The physical progress is 15% and is also recommended for termination due to non-performance. 17. Rehabilitation of Oyarifa High Tension Area Roads, Accra, 3.2 kilometers. Physical progress is 5% and is also recommended for termination due to non-performance. 18. Upgrading of police quarters, Chicago Area Roads and Medina Zongo. Physical progress is 25%, recommended for termination due to non-performance. 19. Upgrading of Oyarifa Special Ice Area Roads, Phase 2, 3.1 kilometers. Physical progress is 98%, substantially completed. And 20. Emergencies road safety measures on Medina Pantan Road. Physical progress 98%, substantially completed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from the answers given by the minister made it very clear that the contractor was issued with 3 warning letters. I'm referring to the Damfa Otinibi Road to speed up work, but there has not been any improvement, and that the project has therefore been recommended for termination and repackaging subject to availability of funds. Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the minister, when exactly would that repackaging be done? Because the subject to availability of funds looks a little bit vague, because we are in the budget cycle and we are hoping that the Ministry of Roads have put in applications, and I'm hoping that Medina is part of this. But if the answer still remains subject to availability of funds, when the road was awarded way back 2020, that looked a bit hopeless. I don't know, but I wish you can clarify that, what you mean, particularly with respect to the Damfa Otinibi Road, because that is a very, very important connecting.
Honorable, your question, please.
Mr. Speaker, he got a question. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Road projects are capital intensive, and we all know the current situation that we find ourselves in. So I will repeat that the repackaging will depend on the availability of funds. As and when the government gets enough funds and they release it to the Ministry of Roads and Highways, we will re-award this contract so that Damfa area people will get some peace of mind. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, okay, so let me go to the other. If you look at the table you provided for the roads that have been awarded in Medina constituency or Medina municipality, you provided a total of 20 roads that have been awarded. But out of that, about 14 of them is either recommended for non-performance or the contractors have abandoned the site. And how come that the Ministry of Roads continuously have this number of non-performing contractors who have been given contract to come and work in the interest of the people? How does that happen?
Honorable Minister, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can think of two things why we have the situation. The first one will be the lack of funds for the Ministry of Roads and Highways to pay contractors on time. And secondly, the capacity of people or companies that bid for our road projects in the country. If the House will recall, somewhere 2021, we changed how companies are classified or licensed to do road projects in Ghana, and we've made it stiffer with a committee that will go to site and inspect personnel and equipment before we license them or we classify them and give them certificates to be able to bid for road projects. And going forward, I'm sure that the situation where we award road contracts to companies that do not have the capacity, the personnel, the equipment to be able to carry out any road project, but yet win contracts in our ministry will be a thing of the past. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, my very last question. Honorable Minister, you would take note of the fact that Medina as a municipality in 2010 was about 110,000, but today Medina is over 250,000 in terms of inhabitants. And so there's so much pressure on social amenities, including roads. I'm happy that you have assessed the situation, and a number of them you've reported that either they've been abandoned or they've been recommended for termination due to non-performance. When exactly are we going to see the termination and then the re-awarding of these roads, particularly the 14 roads that borders on all these communities? Thank you.
Remember, your question was one, Damfa Utinibi. So the follow-up should stay with Damfa Utinibi, please.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, respectfully, he had provided answers covering all the other roads and their statuses. So I'm sure he has information for us, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What is the custom in the road industry or the Ministry of Roads is that if we want to terminate a project, we have to serve warning to the contractor involved. We normally do first warning, second warning, then recommendation is made to the Ministry of Roads and Highways to take action. In this situation, I will not be able to help my colleague with the time period or the status of the termination now. But maybe after this, I could give the information to my honorable colleague. Thank you so much.
The next one, question number 1751. It's the name of the honorable member for China Paga, Thomas Dalu. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways what plans the ministry has to fix the broken steel bridge on the Paga-Mayaro Road in the Kasana-Nankana West district of the Upper East Region. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The slow bridge on the Paga Manyuru Road was constructed in the year 2001 under a Spanish bridges program to connect the Paga district to Bongo district and Navrongo municipality of the Upper East region. It is a 30-meter span bridge across the Gugura River and located at 7.58 kilometers on the Paga Sirigu feeder road. The bridge collapsed when its allowable weight was exceeded by the weight of an overloaded truck in the year 2022. It will be reused to restore the bridge except complete. The replacement of the bridge has been earmarked Bridges Program Phase 2 of the Ministry of Roads and Highways. Hydrological and hydraulic studies are currently at bridge sites to determine the appropriate span and structure of the new bridge to be constructed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I believe this bridge is about 2 years now. And the situation is that it is the only means by which certain towns and villages can go to the center. So far, we've lost about 2 lives there. Because in the rainy season, when the water is there, people still struggle to cross. So, Mr. Speaker, I wish if you can give us some kind of timeline, because if you just say this, I leave it there, it's going to be continuous. So, how soon is this going to be done?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, let me send my sympathy to the families of those who lost their lives in that river due to the nature of the bridge that we have there. Mr. Speaker, as we speak now, due to the debt restructuring and the negotiations that the country is having with the Paris Club, we do not have the timetable when the phase 2 of the check bridges will come off. So I would just say that as soon as the government is able to come into agreement with the Paris Club, the second bridges project will kickstart, and that particular bridge will be one of the first to be tackled. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, what happens is normally the people themselves try to provide a temporary way of crossing it. But when the rain comes, it just goes off. So I'm wondering if the ministry can help to at least create a temporary path or whatever it is to allow, even if no vehicles, to allow individuals to walk across. If that is not possible, that can be done by the regional engineer or whoever.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, without giving any assurances, when I end this question time, I will speak to the engineers in the region to see whether we can provide some solution as suggested by my good colleague, my good friend. Thank you.
Yes.
So, Speaker, I'm grateful. That's all.
Right. Thank you. Question number 1028. The honourable member for Pro East. 1029. Honourable member for Pro East. Oh, very well. Honourable Minister for Roads and Highways, I think we are done with your questions. So, thank you for attending upon the House to answer questions. You are discharged. The next set of questions are to be answered by the Honourable Minister for Sanitation, Water Resources. Question number 1028 by the Honourable Member for Peru East. Question number 129, Honourable Member for Peru East. The questions from the were not asked. The answers as provided will be published in the Hansard as having been answered by the Honourable Minister. Question number 1236, Honourable Member for Keta. Mr. Kwame Jujoli Gape, is she in the House? Very well, I'll move on. Question number 1831, Honourable Member for Yilo Krobo, Dr. Albert Tenyakute. Yes, Honourable, you may ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources when water supply lines will be extended from the University of Environment and Sustainable Development to the Municipal Hospital and Okome area, both located in Somanya.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the University of Environment and Sustainable Development, UESD Ghana, is a new university at Somina in the Yilo Krobo municipality, established through a collaborative project between Ghana and the Italian government. Water supply to the university is through a 250 millimeter HDPE transmission mains extension from the existing Ghana Water Company Limited transmission pipeline from the Pong headworks. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to say that the pipeline was put into use in the second week of October 2022, and the university has reliable water supply. The new district hospital is connected to the Somina water distribution system, but due to low pressures, supply to the facility is erratic. In the short term, Mr. Speaker, Ghana Water plans to integrate the newly constructed 250 millimeter HDPE transmission mains of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development into the existing network to boost pressures to supply the hospital and its environs. The works, which was expected to be completed by the end of the fourth quarter 2023, is scheduled to be completed by the end of first quarter 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for ensuring that the University for Development and Sustainable Studies has water today. But the district hospital has been operating since April 2022, and the hospital has had to depend on tanker services for water. We're hoping that we'll get water by the end of this year. Since the date has changed, can the Minister intervene or step in for Ghana Water to supply some free tanker services daily to support the hospital's efforts?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is indeed important for the hospital to get access to water. So, subject to availability of funds, I will work with the Ghana Water Company to see what can be done, subject to monies available. Thank you.
Yes.
A final question, Mr. Speaker. Since the date has changed from third quarter 2023 to fourth quarter 2024, can the Minister assure this House that the new date will not change to a further date? Thank you very much.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Connecting water to the hospital is very important and dear to us as well. So we'll do everything possible to ensure that they'll be able to work within the stipulated time. Thank you.
Very well. The next question is in the name of the Honourable Member for Sisala West, Mr. Mohammed Adam Saparo. I'll move on to question number 1923 In the name of Honourable Member for Sydney East. Yes, Honourable Napari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources what plans the ministry has to provide small town water system, that's a mechanized system, to the following major towns in the Senate East District: Bodinka, Nyankontri, Nkachekrum, Premoasi, and Kojokrum. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister. Question number 1923, 1923.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Bundika community has a population of 3,381, but has 5 boreholes fitted with hand pumps and a limited mechanized water facility, which fully meets their demand. With a steady growth in population, the community can, however, be considered for a small town system if funds are available. Mr. Speaker, Nyankotre community has a population of 4,209, but has 7 boreholes fitted with hand pumps and 2 limited mechanized water facilities, which fully meet their demand. With a steady growth in population, the community can, however, be considered for a small town system if funds are also available. Mr. Speaker, Nketia Krom community has a population of 720 and has 4 boreholes fitted with hand pumps and 1 limited mechanized water facility, which fully meets their demand. Proactive maintenance needs to be adhered to prevent breakdown in the facility. Mr. Speaker, Premoasi community has a population of 1,200 and has 5 boreholes fitted with hand pumps and 1 limited mechanized water facility, which fully meets their demand. Proactive maintenance needs to be adhered to prevent breakdown. Mr. Speaker, Kojokrom community has a population of 5,038 and has 3 boreholes fitted with hand pumps and 2 limited mechanized water facility, which does not fully meet their water demand. Small towns water supply facilities recommended if funds are available. Mr. Speaker, plan intervention. The provision of 3 small town water systems to the Kojokrom, Bondika, and Nyankotre communities in the Senate East District will help meet the water needs of these communities, subject to the availability of funds. CWSA plans to commence and complete designs for the water system by the end of first quarter of 2024, in readiness for implementation whenever funds are available for construction. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank the Minister so much for response. However, Mr. Speaker, with the Bodinka community, which has 5 boreholes as indicated by the Minister, it is worthy to note that most of these boreholes were constructed way back in the several years back, and most of them are not functioning now. As we speak now, we have only one at the SDA school, which was led by a philanthropist, which is currently functioning. With this, will the Minister consider maybe considering some new boreholes to be sunk once the old ones are not functioning? We try to help the community to rehabilitate them several times, and looks like they have updated their timeline for operation. So if they can consider with some new boreholes for the community.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can appreciate what my colleague is going through. Let the Community Water and Sanitation Agency assess the situation and see what can be done. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, one thing we have noticed is that the figures the Minister has given are very conservative. Looking at the figures and statistical data from the Statistical Service, which has been submitted to me from the district officer from the Statistical Service, Nyankontri community has over 5,500 population, but it is indicated here there are 4,000 population. In the same vein, Nkache Krom community has over 5,500 community, but it's indicated there are only 720 people in the Nkache Krom. Even the voter population alone is 679 currently. And so the figures are very conservative. In this light, Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the Minister if they can as well consider the drilling of some boreholes for the community, since the figures that community water sanitation has is far lower than what is currently on the ground.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I know society is not static but dynamic, so the figures cannot be constant. So we are not here to probably reconcile figures, but to ensure that the good people of these communities get access to good drinking water. So we'll see what can be done to ensure that the boreholes are repaired or managed or rehabilitated so that the communities can get access to good drinking water. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with the planned intervention, the Minister indicates the community water and sanitation will commence some designs. I want to find out from the Minister whether these designs will be considered in the 2024 budget.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As indicated in my answer, I said that the CWSA has plans to commence and complete designs for the water system by the end of first quarter of 2024, in readiness for implementation whenever funds are available. So we are in the process of putting our plans together in terms of the designs for the project for next quarter. Thank you.
Very well. Question number 1924. Right, Honourable Member for Sydney East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister, the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, whether the Ministry has plans to provide solar electricity systems to small town water systems, particularly the KG small town water system, to reduce operational costs and make it affordable to the beneficiary communities.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one of the major drivers of the sector reform is to improve service delivery in the provision of water. However, one of the key challenges is the high cost of operation with electricity costs. Consequently, there is a deliberate strategy to explore the use of sustainable and less cost energy options. There is a consistent policy to install hybrid pumps on all new water systems constructed, while gradually changing all existing pumps to hybrid to accommodate solar energy. The initial cost is relatively high, and CWSA will consider KJG. The initial cost is relatively high, and CWSA will consider KJG, and they will enjoy solar-powered hybrid pumps, subject to availability of funds. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Minister, I just want to find out, with the word subject to availability of funds, can we be looking at provisions in the 2024 budget?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even though it's very capital intensive to install solar lights, it's still cost effective if you're able to do so. And that's what we intend to do. We've started it. We've not even passed our appropriation. So when we get to the bridge, we'll cross. Thank you.
Yes. We'll move on to the next one. Question number 1925. Honourable Member for Sydney East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources what plans the Ministry has to upgrade the limited mechanized water system at Bassa to small town water system in view of the increased population with Bassa Senior High, which is now a modernized institution. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Bassa community in the Sini East District of the Bunu East region has an estimated population of 5,038, which qualifies the community to be upgraded to the small town water system. The community has been listed among the priority projects in the region, and planned implementation is scheduled for 2024, subject to the availability of funds. Once the community system is upgraded to a small water town system, the pipe network will be extended to the secondary school to supply them with water. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is interesting to know that the Bassa Senior High School, which was constructed as a day school, was modernized last year, and the current population in the school is very high. When the school was constructed, they drilled some 2 boreholes as a day student, as a day school, but now that has been modernized. One of the 2 boreholes is also not functioning now, and there's so much pressure for the need of water in the school. Will the minister consider maybe mechanizing the borehole? We are trying to get money to rehabilitate the old one, but if you can consider building another one in the school because of the precarious situation in the school.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is important for our young people, our students, to get access to water, for that matter, borehole. I will confer with my agency, CWSA, to see how best we can support them. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so grateful. So I will see the minister and see what can be done. Thank you.
Very well. Question number 1979, in the name of the honorable member for Zabzugu, Jabba John Benham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, when will Sabari and all the communities along the Zabzugu, Kupalgu, Nakpali, Wabogu Road be provided with small town water system or mechanized boreholes?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Sabari and all the communities along the Zabzugu, Plagu, Nakpali, Waribuku Road are all located in the Zabzugu district with a population of about 82,846. The current water situation is indicated as below. Zabari number 1. The community had one limited mechanized scheme that served their water needs. In addition, the community had 5 boreholes, out of which 1 is not functional. The current population of the community is about 2,578. However, during the dry season, the boreholes do not yield enough water to cater for their water needs. Sabari number 2 has a population of about 1,256. The community has 3 boreholes which they depend on for their water needs. However, same as Sabari number 1, during the dry season, the boreholes do not yield enough water to cater for their water needs. Nakpali community has a current population of about 1,297. The community has 7 boreholes, out of which 3 are functional. They also have 2 limited mechanized schemes, but only 1 is functioning. The second one is broken down and has since not been repaired. Their water needs are fully covered, except that boreholes yields drop during the dry season. Worobugu depends solely on 3 boreholes supplying water to the community. The current population is about 1,033. There's no mechanized water system in the community, and the inhabitants usually face water shortage during the dry season. Kuplagu community has 1 existing limited mechanized scheme but it has broken down. The community has a population of about 2,010, depending on 5 out of 7 boreholes fitted with hand pump. The water supply needs are fully met except during the dry season when the boreholes dry up. Mr. Speaker, plan interventions. All these communities are along the Oti River, and so CWSA is planning a surface water source for the water supply system to supply all the communities along the Zabzugu-Orobugu Road from the Oti River. Mr. Speaker, the proposed intervention will include, but not limited to, the following. 1. Construction of an intake on the Oti River with a treatment plan. Construction of a transmission network. Construction of distribution network covering the entire targeted communities. Construction of high-level tanks. Erection of tank pipes. And construction of CWSA management office, among others. However, Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, this intervention can only be done subject to the availability of funds. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Minister, reading your response to my question, you realize that dry season, the boreholes are not having water, and a lot of them to have broken down. Can you please assist in the repairs of it, since we are almost in the dry season? I mean, your ministry.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, definitely something has to be done. It's a worrying situation that during the dry seasons, all their boreholes dry up. So I will speak to the CWSA and see what we can do in the interim to support these communities. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May the minister please help me with an officer at the CWSA so that I can personally do the contact with that officer, since she's so busy and she will not be able to be doing the follow-up.
Honorable, I suggest that you go to her directly in respect of this connection. That's right.
On that note, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, I've asked him to come and see you personally for assistance in that regard. Please make sure you give him access. Thank you. Well, honorable members, having regards to the state of the business of the House, I direct that the House sits outside our regular sitting hours. The last question for today is to be asked by the honorable member for Amenfi West. Mr. Rikafo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources what plans the ministry has to extend the community water program to Samaboy community in the Amenfi West constituency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Samaboy is a town in the Amenfi West municipality in the western region. The town has a projected population of about 17,876. There is water supply facility in the community that serves only the staff bungalow of the Samatex Timber and Plywood Company Limited and not the entire community. There is therefore the need to provide a small town water supply facility to the Samaboy community. Mr. Speaker, the planned intervention by the ministry. Construction of a small town water supply system for the Samaboy community is part of our priority projects planned by the Community Water and Sanitation Agency in 2024, subject to the availability of funds. The design will be carried out within the first quarter of 2024 in readiness for procurement and construction once funds are available for the project. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable. Yes, Honorable, may I ask
Mr. Speaker,
question?
Let me thank the Minister so much for prioritizing this project, because this is one of the problems I have in my constituency. So I'm very happy that he said we started within the quarter of 2024. Thank you so much. We are looking up to you. Thank you.
Very well. That brings us to the end of question time for today. Honorable Minister, we thank you for attending upon the House to answer questions. You are discharged. Yes.
Speaker, at the commencement of public business, we are taking item number 9B. Item listed number 9B is on page 6, presentation of papers.
Item 9, presentation of papers by the Minister for Finance. A.
No, by the Minister for Energy.
O. B.
May I seek your leave to have
Very
the
well.
Deputy Minister?
Listen, go ahead.
May I seek your leave to have the Deputy Minister lay the paper? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Speaker, yes, that's our colleague. You can allow him to lay it.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Agreement for the establishment of the Africa Energy Bank. Charter of the Africa Energy Bank. Headquarters agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Energy, and the Africa Energy Bank.
The paper is duly presented. Refer to the Committee on Energy to consider and report. All the three papers are referred to the Committee on Energy to consider and report. Yes, what next? Yes, leader.
So you are kindly referring it to Committee of Energy and Leadership of Finance.
Is it because it's a bank of energy? Is it a finance bank or energy bank?
The indication from the Honorable Minister, so I'm craving the indulgence of the House to include the leadership of finance in consideration.
Honorable Speaker, obviously it's the Energy Committee, but it will help if we get the leadership of the Finance Committee to sit in that meeting.
Very well. I further direct that the leadership of the Finance Committee join the Committee on Energy to consider the referrals and report to the House. Yes.
Yes, Speaker, we are taking item number 53. Item listed number 53, motion on page 24. The chairman of the committee is here to take it.
Very well. Honourable members, motion by Chairman, Committee on Roads and Transport.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that motion number 53 listed on page 24 of today's order paper be adopted. And in so doing, Mr. Speaker, I would like to present your committee's report. Mr. Speaker, your committee bet it was a joint referral with the Finance Committee to consider the concession agreement on the motorway. Mr. Speaker, your committee met last Tuesday to consider the concession agreement between the Ministry of Highways and GIF for the redevelopment of the Tema motorway. Mr. Speaker, listen, Joe, you don't do it. No.
Speaker, with respect, we should have taken item 52 preceding 53 because it's a procedural motion. So, Speaker, shall we go back and take item 53
2A step.
When was this paper late? Yesterday. Okay, very well. So we'll start with item 52, the procedural motion. The chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that motion list number 52 listed on page 24 be moved now.
Yes.
The Speaker, I rise to support the motion.
You second or you support it?
Second the motion.
Very well. Honourable members, the procedural motion has been moved and seconded. All in favour of the House adopting the procedural motion, say aye. Aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The procedural motion is adopted. Now, we may proceed with item 53.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that motion number 53 listed on page 24 of today's order paper be adopted. In so doing, I would like to present your committee's support. Mr. Speaker, due to time constraint, I want to just focus on a few portions of the report. Mr. Speaker, your committee met to consider the concession agreement on the motorway redevelopment between Ministry of Highways and GIF. The Speaker, the committee made a few observations, and paragraph 10.0 has given a few observations that was made at the committee. Under the concession agreement, the committee observed that 1% of the revenue accrued to the from the project will be given to the Ministry of Roads and Highways. Mr. Speaker, the motorway project is expected, the concession period is for 30 years, and it is expected to be completed in 36 months. Mr. Speaker, it is a 10-lane project redevelopment that they are doing. They are going to expand the lanes to be 10 lanes with 8 interchanges at various sections of the project. Comprises of 3 sessions. The first session, the second session, and the third session. The first session is a 19.5 kilometers, with the second session 2.7 kilometers, and the third session is 1.5 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, altogether is about 27.7 kilometers. In conclusion, after carefully considering the committee going through the concession agreement, we will recommend to the House to adopt the concession agreement under the public-private partnership between the government of the Republic of Ghana, acting on its behalf by the Ministry of Roads and Highways, and ATEP Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, as the employer, for an amount of 338,897,540 United States dollars for the redevelopment and expansion of the Accra-Tema motorway project. I respectfully submit, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to second the motion as moved by Committee Chairman. Mr. Speaker, the Tema motorway project is so critical that it's time that this project has or is given the appropriate attention, and therefore we need to see the economic and the political and social implications of all this project. The construction of this project, the first tranche being the motorway, Mr. Speaker, has 10 lanes that hitting the Tetekwashi motorway. The Tetekwashi circle will also be managed and properly constructed so that the 10 lanes coming from Tema will hit the Tetekwashi, that there wouldn't be any congestion and any problems going forward. But more significantly is the construction on the contractor. The competence of the contractor is very critical. This is the time that we have to develop local efficiency, local capacity, and local competence. And therefore, the the Tamamoto Way, which is over 50 years, particularly the concrete part of the property or the structure, it said that you need the capacity of a contractor that is not doubted. And therefore, the contractor, the Maripoma contractor, demonstrating all the competence and efficiency for this project is appropriate. And that is why we support it. And the expectation is that the first tranche will be constructed, will be executed to give way, to give room, to give path for the second and the third tranches. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Yes, Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this motion moved by the chairman of the Rules and Highways. Mr. Speaker, as rightly said by the ranking and the chairman, the construction of the motorway is long overdue. It is therefore a welcome news to Ghanaians that the government, through the gift, is arranging this facility to reconstruct the Tamamoto Way. Mr. Speaker, the committee was briefed by the Minister of Roads and its agencies, and per our discussion, Mr. Speaker, daily traffic on the motorway is about 60,000 vehicles. And I believe that if it is developed into the 10-lane, Mr. Speaker, it will ease the traffic situation in the motorway. Some of us who live in Temas, it's very difficult for us to actually apply this particular road. And Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that the Minister of Roads is doing this through our local contractors called Manapoma. And Mr. Speaker, if you look at the work that Manapoma is doing in Ofankon-Sawan Road, it is therefore important that we all support this particular arrangement. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the. Let me thank the committee for this report. Mr. Speaker, the history of the Tamamoto Way, as you all know, dates back to the dates of Osajifo Dr. Kwame. In fact, the coup makers who overthrew him, one of the reasons was that he undertook a luxury project, spent so much money for a short 18-kilometer road. It is evident to anybody to see that after all these years, that investment was worth it. So, Speaker, in my recent debates on the budget, I had argued. In their report, it stated that the funding will mainly come from the oil annual budget funding amount. So, Speaker, and I've argued strongly that after almost 15 years of oil production, we should be beginning to focus on big major projects in Ghana using oil revenue, so that when the oil is depleted, we are able to point to projects that actually we use the oil for. And so it is very, very important that we focus on that. 10 lanes are big. Mr. Speaker, the concerns in this report has to do with the structure of the financing. And people have expressed concern. I look at the structure. If it's coming from annual budget funding amount, and it's coming through gifts, what is the other company, Ateb Limited, who are consultant and all that. That doesn't make the funding very straightforward. I'm not a financial expert, but I believe that the ultimate purpose is to expand the traffic congestion and the use of the motorway, which is very critical. And the Speaker, the starting point of using oil money to focus on very critical infrastructure, roads, highways, that will last a lifetime, that will endure to the benefit of even generations to come. And that is very, very important. To speak on that note, I commend you. Go ahead.
Yes, Leader.
Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and not to repeat myself. First of all, I think I need to commend the government for this important project Speaker, needless to point at the fact that it's going to set up the business hub of our country, the industrial section of our country, Tema and its enclave, and many parts of Accra and other parts of the country. So important.
Thank you. Enjoy your
It's also significant to observe that the Ghana Infrastructure Fund, this is going to be its first major project in this country. Speaker, it's important we caution that they tread with caution and they do a good work where we'll get Ghana Highway Authority playing their professional role in terms of supervision. Speaker, having said that, I'm excited about the fact that there is a huge local content in the execution of this project, and all of us should rally around the table, support the projects to see the light of day. Speaker, having said which, I want to urge the entire House to support the passage and the adoption of this report. Speaker, thank you.
At the conclusion of the debate, the question is, all in favor of the House adopting the motion, say aye. Aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried. Item 54, resolution.
Yes, yes. Speaker.
Sorry. Yes.
Speaker, may I seek your leave for the item to be taken by the Deputy Minister of Roads and Highways?
Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister. You may take item 54.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker, I beg to move that the resolution captured as item number 54 on pages 25 and 26 of today's order paper be adopted now. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
Yes, who is seconding the resolution?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion to adopt resolution number 54 on today's order paper has been moved and seconded. All in favor of the House adopting the resolution, say aye. Aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The House has adopted resolution number 54 on pages 25, 26 of today's order paper. Yes.
Page 16. Then we turn to page 16 and take item 34.
Very well. Item 34, the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources. Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I move the motion, I seek your leave to amend the figure on the order paper to reflect same as in the report. The order paper reads 591 million and 52,380 Ghana cedis. But the report states 741 million and 52,380 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, I seek your leave to amend.
Which one is the correct one?
The correct one is what is in the report, 741 million, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Let the order paper be amended to reflect the correct figure, which is 701.
741 million and
741.
52,380 Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. I will proceed with the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this Honourable House approve the sum of 741 million and 52,380 Ghana cedis for the services of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources for the year ending 31st December 2024. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Chairman.
Mr. Speaker,
I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Honorable Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, and in so doing present your committee's report. I will highlight some few issues and observation, and of course I will conclude once I urge the answer department to capture the entire report as having been read. Mr. Speaker, your committee met and took note of these critical issues of water and sanitation sector. Mr. Speaker, water is critical. We also need clean sanitation for everybody. And so, after going through various documents and the challenges confronting the water and sanitation sector, this committee highly recommends that indeed this country creates a fund dedicated for water and sanitation issues. So, Mr. Speaker, at this point in our life, we need a dedicated fund for water and sanitation so that the whole country can be covered. As we speak, we have about 87% coverage. We need to cover 100% so that everybody will have access to clean water and clean sanitation. Mr. Speaker, for sake of time, I will conclude by saying that indeed the ministry plays a key role in providing sanitation services, promoting sustainable development and management of water resources, and ensure that we have clean health. Mr. Speaker, it will also help to improve our environment. There is therefore the need for the ministry to be well resourced. The committee hereby recommends for the adoption of the House and the approval of the House a sum of 700,041,380 Ghana cedis for the program activities of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources for the financial year ending 31st December 2024. Respectfully submitted. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We support the motion to approve the budgetary allocation given to the Ministry for Water and Sanitation. Mr. Speaker, as my committee chairman has indicated, the committee met and quite a few issues were raised, but something interesting and refreshing was that the Community Water and Sanitation Agency has collaborated with Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology to detect illegal connections on their pipe network. That was quite commendable, and the Ghana Water Company was advised to also look at similar collaborations so that they'll be able to improve the services that are given out, that they offer to the general public. Ghana Water Company may be much larger in mass and scale than Community Water, but this was an innovation, and we thought that it should be applauded. It should be duly applauded. Mr. Speaker, issues relating to water in the country are always very sensitive because they have a lot of dimensions regarding public health, general health and safety, and generally, and with the advent of galamsey in certain areas, the ministry is quite challenged with making sure that we are providing critical water supplies to all these communities. And we believe that they will be able to do what they have to do, and the minister is capable and able to lead her ministry accordingly. Therefore, without much ado, I also support the motion and recommend that the sum of 52,380 Ghana cedis is approved for the program and activities of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources for the financial year ending 31st December 2024. I so submit. Thank you very much. I support the motion.
Yes, Honorable Member for Biani and Yasubekwa.
Right now, Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion ably moved by the Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources and seconded by the Chairman of Committee of Works and Housing, that the budgetary allocation of 741,052,380 Ghana cedis be approved to enable the ministry carry out 8 programs and activities for the financial year ending 31st December 2024. Right, Honorable Speaker, having made my position clear, I will proceed to make a few comments, mainly based on observations made during the interrogation of the budget estimate, programs and activities for the year ending 2024, and the performance of the ministry in 2023. As we all know, cleanliness is next to godliness, and water is life. From these two statements, Right Honorable Speaker, this ministry must be resourced adequately at all material times to carry out its duties and obligations to the satisfaction of the citizen. Right Honorable Speaker, another comment that I would like to pass is that we enthusiastically and gladly approve the sanitation levy in this August House, with the anticipation that our long outstanding sanitary challenges were going to be reduced drastically, if not eliminated completely. Unfortunately, the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, which is in charge of our sanitary issues, is not even the custodian of the proceeds from this levy. And I think this House has to look into it so that the funds will be made available to the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources to perform their duties and functions to our satisfaction. Right, Honorable Speaker, I think because of the issue of sanitation, some of us as MPs, we are compelled to take some of these activities ourselves in our constituencies, using our personal resources, and it's very worrying. So we will plead with the House to look into that sanitation levy well, so that it can serve the purpose for which we approve it. Right, Honorable Speaker, with these few words, I will conclude by saying that the allocation of 741,052,380 Ghana cedis be approved for the ministry to carry out 8 activities and programs. I accordingly submit, and thank you for the opportunity.
Very well. I'll put up. Yes, Honorable Granza.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make a few comments on the motion on the floor that this Honorable House approve the sum of 91,052,380 for the services of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources for the year ending 31st December 2024. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I want to make a few comments on the percentage of distribution losses by Ghana Water. Mr. Speaker, I asked the ministry when they attended to the committee that if you have your own business, if you have your own company, you are producing water and you are leaving about 50% of the water to go waste.
It is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker. It's totally unacceptable because, and trying to talk to the Ghana Water CEO, it looks as if they have no solution to this particular problem. Mr. Speaker, just let me make a few comments here. In 2020, Ghana Water, their production, they lost 49.98% of the water they have produced. They said they want to do well a bit. In 2022, distribution losses alone is 48.6%. It is not acceptable, Mr. Speaker. And I think Ghana Water needs to do something about this. The CEO of Ghana Water, after talking to him, the MD doesn't have a solution to this problem. His only solution is that they have pipes that are old, they have machines that are too old, and they don't have money. So anything that they are producing, at least about 50% goes waste. And therefore, Honorable Minister, I think Ghana Water needs to sit up on this particular issue. Mr. Speaker, I also want to commend Community Water for the excellent work they are doing. Mr. Speaker, they brought in a lot of innovations to the extent that they have a robot that is going to check their pipe systems in this country, which is an innovation that I think is going to help them a lot. As a village MP, I think Community Water is doing so well and they need to be commended. Mr. Speaker, today is Community Water's 25th anniversary, and I want to say congratulations to them. In doing so, I just want to say I support the motion on the floor. Thank you very much.
Yes, Leader.
Speaker, if I may add some few words in support of the said amounts advertised to be appropriated. First of all, I think there have been some good, I observed a few interventions by the minister. However fleeting she's been at the ministry, she's clearly showing signs that given enough time, she will be able to turn the tables around. Even though I agree with my colleague when he identified distribution losses, which I think is a matter that should not be glossed over. Minister will remind you that Ghana Water would have to up their game. A few agencies under the ministry's auspices would have to be supported though. Ghana Water Resource Commission, for instance. So if you look at the act that backs this institution and what they are doing practically, it leaves so much to be desired. And going forward, I think is something that should attract the attention of the minister. Again, Speaker, there is a correlation between vegetation cover and water availability. And hence, I will urge the minister that there should be a collaboration. There should be a definite and dedicated collaboration between the ministry and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, particularly in their tree planting exercise, to build more vegetation cover on our planet, and particularly in this country. Then on public education, maybe the NCC could collaborate with the ministry to educate the public on why we have to keep our water bodies clean and our behavior towards our water bodies, because it impacts on the water quality and the availability. Speaker, having said this, I urge the House to support the appropriation of the said amount. I thank you, Speaker.
Yes, Leader.
Sorry. Well, you didn't sit down. Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, very importantly, if you look at the report, it's very clear that in 2023, there was basically no activity. Out of over $1 billion, the percentage of releases was 8.5. And it is very clear why. We as a country have decided that when it comes to the critical thing that we need to survive, water and sanitation, we rely on donor support. For example, if you look at all the water projects, Wenchi, and all these areas, with Sunyani, with Tamale, we cut short, but because of our financial crisis, We were expecting money from India, Exim, it never came. And all these projects came to a standstill. It is very clear that we have to put our priorities right and make sure that we change. We can't put 80% of what we need and rely on donor. When it doesn't come, it means all of a sudden these critical projects are at a standstill. I'm just hoping that in 2024, our priorities will shift and change, because it is very clear that donor support has not been forthcoming. So, Mr. Speaker, this is very critical. But while we are on the issue of water, we must be very concerned about the state of our water bodies as a country. Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking for as a member of parliament from the Western region. And I'm speaking as a member of parliament who crosses the Ankobra River every day. The tributary that ends into the sea. Every time you get there, you have a heartbreak. We have to do something about Galamsey to make sure we stop the pollution of our water bodies. We've talked about this in this house for so many times, but it's no longer funny. It is about real survival. And very soon, we might not survive. And it is not a joke when somebody says that we may have to import water one day if you don't act. So, Honourable Speaker, on that note, I ask that we support the motion. Thank you.
At the conclusion of the debate, the question is, all in favor of the House adopting the motion, say aye. Aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. This House has approved the sum of 741,052,380 Ghana cedis for the services of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources for the year ending 31st December 2024.
Speaker, having regard to business executed so far and earlier discussions we held at leadership level, it's past 2, and so that it pleases you, and tomorrow we are minded to sit. May you adjourn the House, Speaker.
Madam Speaker, rightly so.
Very well. Before I bring proceedings to a close, guided by what happened yesterday and today, what time do you suggest we sit tomorrow?
Speaker, 10 and the following.
Will we have sufficient reports to start at 10? That's what I'm raising. There's no point coming at 10 and waiting till 12 before we start if the reports will not be ready.
Speaker, you are right. But it also happens that often when we evenly suspect, a number of the reports have turned out to be ready. So it's all about communication. When we come at 10 and there is a need for us to change the time, so I will communicate duly. But I suggest we go by the normal time of sitting.
Honourable Speaker, I think the question you asked is very important. I think the leader of government business must coordinate this and make sure that by 10 o'clock tomorrow when we come, there will be reports for us to work on. I think that is very important.
Speaker, that will be done.
Very well. Before I bring proceedings to a close, I hereby acknowledge the new Order Educational Complex from Mansour Brim. The school is led by Mr. Obed Frimpong, who is a proprietor, and they come from the Mansia South constituency. 80 of them. You're welcome to Parliament from Mansour Brim. Honourable members, the Honourable Member for Shaman says I have no quorum to bring proceedings to a close, but I will ignore him. So, Honourable members, the House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow, the 16th of December 2023 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.